Okay, so let's go ahead and knock out one more video before I relax for a little bit. These videos are going up a lot later than they usually do because, as I'd mentioned in the Batman the animated series watch along I just did with Cat Scratch Fever, that would have I spent most of the day visiting with my mother today and got to see my sister and my stepfather and my nephews and my brother-in-law, and oddly enough, like the only person in my immediate family on that side that I did not get to see is my sister, that is the wife of my brother-in-law and mother of my nephews. So she's the one who I did not get to see today. So Sarah, if you're watching it, sorry I missed you, but it was cool seeing everybody else. And I even got to see my Aunt June for a little bit because she was FaceTiming with my mom when I got over there. I went over there straight after I got off of work because I was working overnight and I hadn't seen my mom in a while. And what usually winds up happening is when I'm working overnight, working that late to like 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll come home and try to take a little bit of a nap, but I'll wind up oversleeping, and then my whole day off is gone. So, so in this case, like I just kind of said to my mom, you know what? Why don't I just come over there right after work? We can have breakfast, and then I'll take a little bit of a nap, and then we can spend some time together. So I brought her and my stepdad some breakfast, and you know, we ate our breakfast, and then I took a nap for like a couple hours. And by that time, it was time for her to go pick up my nephews from school and take them home. So I got to see them and my brother-in-law for a little bit, and then went back to my mom's house, and I took another nap. And by the time I woke up, my sister was home, and we all had supper. And then I went on my merry little way. And then I came back here and I took another nap. Sometimes I don't get a night's sleep. I just get like a few extended naps. And I think I'd even planned on sleeping later until it was time for me to do my paperwork. But I wound up waking up around 1 a.m. and I'm like, you know what? I wanted to do these videos anyway, so let's go ahead and get them out of the way. I promised that I was going to do a Batman the Animated Series today, so I absolutely had to do that one. But I figure while I'm doing videos, I might as well get this puppy out of the way. So this is G.I. Joe Classified Series, Tiger Force Flint. So, and there's the artwork on the side. And this figure is a source of minor controversy because of the very heavy camo face paint that they gave this character. Because we're not used to seeing Flint with camo face paint, and dude, not only did they give him camo face paint, they went all out on it. So here we have a photograph of the figure, layout of the accessories, the same artwork from the side of the package. Over here, we've got the QR code. One of these days, I'll do a QR code. And then on the back here, we got, again, a plain vanilla picture of the figure with, the loadout of accessories and some close-ups on the detail on the vest there. So, yeah, let's go ahead and open them up. Now, this is mostly a repaint of the original Flint. The original classified Flint, obviously. So, but they did add some extra accessories, so to give us a little more bang for our buck. So that was nice. And I do have with me the original classified Flint, so we can do a little bit of comparison time. Now, mine, I replaced the shotgun that came with the character with this shotgun that I 3D printed myself, and this is one that I found on Thingiverse. And it's actually made for 3 3/4 inch G.I. Joes, but I scaled it up a bit. And, I printed it out in olive drab green filament so that it would look somewhat like the gun that came with the original figure. Oh, and the other thing I did to customize this was I painted red onto his shotgun shells because I felt like that helped them pop a little bit more. So, anyway, let's go ahead and take Tiger Force Flint out of the package. I also noticed that like the brown that's on the back of the package is a bit more on the orangish side than the stuff on the front. But this seems to me like more of a digital render. So, but I do actually think now that I look at it, it's a little more accurate to what we're actually seeing on the figure. That is a fairly orangish shade of brown. So okay, so that's what our figure looks like in its little package. So we'll set that aside for now. And then we have the Footlocker Flint. There we go. He's figure number 68. Well, that can't be right. 68 was a while ago. I've got it upside down, don't I? All right. I'm here to make bad jokes and unbox action figures. And you only wish I was out of bad jokes. All right. Let's go ahead and open up this little paper envelope thingy. And we'll go over the accessories that came with Flint. So first of all, we have a brown beret. And a nice touch to this one is if you look at the beret flash, maybe I can get the focus well enough, is it actually does have the Tiger Force logo tampographed on there. I'm having a hard time getting it to focus. And then I dropped it. Also interesting when I'm looking at it is I noticed that it is actually painted in like olive drab kind of plastic, the same shade of olive drab that he's got on his accessories here. So, and like if we look at the original Flint figure, we notice that his beret is black and his gun holster is black, and what color is his the shotgun sheath on the back? That looks to be olive drab too. So I'm guessing the beret and the holster and the shotgun sheath, all of those are probably on the same sprue. So that's why in the original figure they were all obviously going to be black, so that's not a problem. But here, most of these accessories are going to be olive drab, and the beret was going to be brown, so they had to paint it. But you can see the olive drab on the inside there. So, but yeah, he's got the Tiger Force emblem kind of tampographed onto the beret. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that to focus well enough. But you know what? I'll try to get a good picture of it and put it up in the community posts so you guys can still get a good look at it. So we're going to set these accessories over here. Johnny Lawrence is still on this table, so I'm going to move Mr. Lawrence aside, and we'll get back to these accessories. Now, he comes with the same rifle that Recondo came with, and again, since they didn't bother to give it any sort of like cardboard protection in this, it's all bent to hell. So I really do miss those little cardboard protectors they put on the weapons so that wouldn't happen with them. And then he's got the same kind of funky sci-fi looking shotgun that the original classified Flint came with. Only I don't believe that green detail was painted on there. I think it was brown on the original one. But it's been a while since I've done anything with that one. And then we have this trying to find machete. I don't know how I forget the word machete. But he's got this machete. Technically, I think it's more of a kukri knife. But this is what another accessory that was recycled from Recondo. Also, the knife sheath on the leg, recycled from Recondo. Give us a little bit more value for our purchase of a repainted figure. And then the same sidearm that the original one came with. Let's go ahead and compare the two sidearms while I've got it out. And I believe they should be mostly identical, if not entirely identical. And it looks like the only real difference is I think the original one is like a slightly lighter shade. Like this one is more of a true black, and this one is more of a dark gray. But it's a negligible difference, you know. If they put out another run of this original Flint figure, it might even be the same sort of difference. And last but not least, we have the ammo clip that's going to go into the Recondo rifle. So why don't I go ahead and do that right now? and it does have. If we look at one end, is a little more chunky, and the other end is a little more narrow. Hopefully, you can see that. So it's pretty obvious what end goes where. So we just stick that in there, and I will probably super glue that in later because I don't need it to be removable. And I will certainly hit this with a hair dryer, and hopefully that'll straighten that up some. So, in fact, give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna go get Recondo, so I know where he's at. So just bear with me for a second. I could have and probably should have thought to bring him in here with me, and in fact, he was sitting right next to where I had the regular Flint. So, and even him, his rifle got bent a little bit. So these two rifles to me look to be identical. So they might even be leftover Tiger Force Recondo rifles that they had, and just like, oh, what the hell, man. Now, obviously, the leg sheath is a different color because Recondo's is brown, but the kukri knife, I think, is the same exact one. Just looking at it myself. So yeah. Also, with this one, I 3D printed him a revolver because I felt like a revolver worked better for his sidearm than the automatic did. He seems to me like more the kind of guy who would have a revolver there. So I'm gonna go ahead and set Recondo aside for a little bit, since now we've been over everything with that figure that we need to, and I think we've been over everything with the accessories that we need to. You know what? He's got his. I was pulling it up trying to see it. It's sticking out the back. I could have just looked at the back. All right, so let's go ahead and get him out of the package. And oh, did I ever miss these little paper ties? I like these way better than the plastic tabs. Especially since, it's supposed to be plastic-free packaging. I think at least on one of them that I've seen, it said mostly plastic-free packaging, and then said something like, plastic-free except for the tape. But then they brought back those damn rubber tabs. So, like I said, I don't think they really care about the environment. They just care about saving money. It was cheaper for them to make the packaging this way. That's the real reason they did it. Let's be honest. All right, so there we go. We've got Flint out of his plastic or his cardboard prison, and I tell you, this camo makeup, I don't know if it was the right call. I'm being honest about it, because look, if anybody from Hasbro was watching this, I want to say right off the bat, kudos to you for trying to do something different. Kudos to you for trying to make Flint a little more unique for his Tiger Force appearance. But that having been said, I think you guys overdid it a little bit, because I keep seeing all these memes online where they'd Photoshop the head of the Hamburglar onto this figure or something like that, or compare him to Daryl Hannah and Blade Runner, where she had the black over her eyes like that. Personally, I look at it and I kind of wonder why he's cosplaying as the Lone Ranger, which, I love the Lone Ranger, and that's a good character to cosplay as if you're going to cosplay as somebody, but time and a place, dude. You're on a military mission. This ain't Dragon Con. So like I pointed out before, this is a very orangish shade of brown here. I probably would have gone for more of a chocolatey kind of brown, but this is like a shade that for any of my fellow natives of the state of Georgia, it reminds me a lot of red Georgia clay. It's maybe not quite that bright of a red, but it's still I can't see that color and not think of red Georgia clay. So let's go ahead and gear him up. I think probably what they should have done with this head instead is one of two things: is either A, oh well, three things actually. They could have just left it as a regular Flint head, I suppose. But as far as doing the camo thing goes, I think they should have done something a little more subtle, like the regular classified dusty head. I think that would have been something that people could have cleaned off if they didn't like the camo paint. You can't really strip this camo paint off though because it's like all over his eyes, and then you'd wind up stripping off his eyes, wouldn't you? And unless you're really good at repainting eyes at that scale, I wouldn't recommend it. So, but I do kind of feel like they maybe overdid that a little bit. Come on, Flint, it's Tiger Force, not Raccoon Force. Let's not go that extreme with it. The other thing they could have done, the third thing they could have done to do something different. So there's where the sidearm fits in the holster. Is they could have instead of given us an alternate head, which already is starting to be a thing that we're seeing a lot more often with these figures, like with Grunt coming with the alternate Steel Brigade head, and the upcoming Quick Kick is going to have alternate heads. So they could have given him one more head that we could swap out onto this figure, so that he didn't necessarily have the Lone Ranger mask. So I'm going to put the kukri knife into his hand so we can see how he looks holding that. And there we go. Pretty cool. And then I can go ahead and put that into the sheath. And one thing I'm kind of concerned about is, like, since it wasn't made to all fit together like that, is this sheath might interfere with this belt a little bit. So I'm going to try to, it's on there really tight though. It's like almost stuck on there, I think. Just kind of slide this sheath around his leg just a little bit so it doesn't quite bump into those little grenades on there. I know somebody said that those are supposed to be ammo drums, like for like a revolver, but he doesn't come with a revolver, so that doesn't make any sense. So I'm gonna pretend they're grenades, which is what I thought they were in the first place. And then Flint wouldn't be Flint without a shotgun, which, not my favorite shotgun in the world. I did replace it on the original figure, and I probably will with this one too. But there's what he looks like with his shotgun. So it's a weird sort of shotgun because it's a pump action shotgun, but it also flicks open that way, which basically is the same purpose. So, and the coloring of this figure is pretty spot on for how the original Tiger Force Flint was, face camo aside, where he's got a brown shirt with black tiger stripes on it, and whereas the original one had a plain black shirt, and then he's got like light green web gear as opposed to the brown web gear that the original figure would have come with, and this they extended onto the holster and the kukri knife sheath. And then since he's got camo on the top half of the figure on this one, and it's plain on the top half of this one has camo pants. This one has just plain green pants. And then the gloves and the boots, like with the original figure, are gray, and the knee pads are also gray. So this shotgun can store in the little shotgun sheath on his back. So there's what that looks like. And this version of Flint, unlike the original one, I'm going to try to straighten this out a little bit because it's bothering me. Again, I don't really like to do this on the videos because of the noise. But it's just bothering me so much that this thing is so bent out of shape. So I'm going to try to straighten it out. It's fun. There we go. Starting to straighten up a little bit. There we go. All right. So everybody who is an action figure collector for this very reason should own a hair dryer. Now, I bought this one at the Goodwill. Still got the sticker on it. and you can see that the price was $2.99 at the Goodwill. Now, it might have even been on sale at that. It might have been the green was the color of the week. That might have been part of why I picked this one in particular. But yeah, go ahead and if you collect action figures, get yourself a hair dryer. You won't regret it. Obviously, I don't have any other reason to own a hair dryer other than action figures. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put the Recondo rifle into his little hands and see what he looks like with that. And it fits on him pretty well, I think. It definitely fits the look of this character. I almost kind of always thought of Tiger Force as being more of a jungle patrol. The figures that I liked in the original Tiger Force ones were the ones like Flint and Duke that were a little more realistically colored and they had more of a jungle feel to them, as opposed to some of the other ones that were a little more sort of outre in their coloring. So, but that's what Flint looks like, all geared up with all the weapons stored on the figure. Everything has a place to store except for this rifle, which unfortunately does not really have a place to store. So, but if you've got the shotgun in the sheath already, then you can also. Wonder if that'll fit in there. It seems like it'd be kind of loose though, but let's go ahead and try it. So. Hmm, you know, if you kind of stretch it out just enough so that the ammo clip goes in there, yeah, you could store that in the shotgun sheath if you wanted to. Let's say you're somebody who just really wants Flint to have the shotgun since that's his main weapon. That's the weapon we always associate with Flint. And I'll probably 3D print him another one of those that I already have. Just do it in gray, since I believe Tiger Force Flint had a gray shotgun. But yeah, so we can do that. Oh, in case anybody's curious, I'll go ahead and do this. So the one that I 3D printed, it's obviously smaller than the big chonky one that he comes with, but it actually will fit in that shotgun sheath as well. So more because it's thick this way than thick this way. But yeah, so he can store that there if you want to. So, and like I said, for anybody who wants to print out this one specifically on, if you've got a 3D printer, go to Thingiverse and just look for GI Joe shotgun, and that should be something that pops up. But like I said, the designer intended this for 3 3/4 inch figures, so you're gonna want to scale it up. But I think that's a perfect shotgun for Flint personally. That to me reminds me a lot of the one that the original figure came with. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and I'm going to take the rifle out of the back so that that way I don't have to worry about knocking it out of his hand anyway. I'd rather just go ahead and take it out of his hand than accidentally knock it out of his hand and lose it on the floor. So Flint has pretty standard articulation. I've been over this before, I think, but let's go over it again because it's been a while. So he's got a head that rotates all the way around. It's on a ball joint that is on a hinge. So he's got a pretty good range of motion on his neck. And also the neck itself is ball jointed into the figure. So you can get a good range of motion, a lot of expression out of that neck articulation. Arms go down about that far. Arms move up about this far. And it does seem like it was a very stiff joint there, but I was able to get it to move with very little coaxing. Got a bicep swivel that rotates all the way around this way. This one feels a little loose on my example, but hopefully that's just on my example. The other one seems fine. So we'll go ahead and put those arms back down, and that is a tight joint. I wish I could import some of the tightness from the shoulder into that bicep swivel, but he does have a butterfly joint at the shoulders, so that gives you a little bit more of a range of motion back and forth as far as that goes. He does have an ab crunch. It is slightly hindered by this flak vest that he's wearing. Flak vest is pretty cool. It's molded in olive drab plastic with the plates painted into a very dark charcoal gray, and he's got the details of the shotgun shells painted on there in black and bronze paint, and then he's got the famous double belt that Flint has, where he's got the two different belts, and they are molded along with the knife sheath and the pistol holster and that olive drab plastic again. He's got some darker, still kind of olive drab, but a darker shade of it, pants. Like I said, plain pants. And legs kick up of that far. They do have the drop down hips that the classified figures are famous for. And the legs go about that far. Uh, you can do the splits no problem. Got double jointed knees, and they go all the way back like that. It's a good range of motion on the knees. And then he has a boot cut, so the boot soles all the way around. Got the ankles that go down about that far and go up about that far. They are slightly hindered by the shin guard, but I think that's about as far up as they would go anyway. They probably wouldn't go much further than that, even without the shin guard on there. And then, of course, they're the rocker ankles, so they rotate back and forth like that. They don't quite go all the way around. I don't think they would if the shin guard wasn't in the way. So you can kind of get them to go all the way around. But who needs your ankles to go all the way around? That's not natural. If you can get your ankle to go all the way around, that means you need to go to the doctor. So yeah, if you like this figure, but you don't like the face paint, there's not a whole lot of options available to you. Because, like I said, you could strip it off, but then you're going to have to repaint the eyeballs. And that's not going to be easy. You could leave it on there, but you don't like it. So what else can you do? Well, if you're like me, and you're lucky enough that you've bought some of the older Flint figures that you have customs, maybe you have an extra Flint head. So let's see what he looks like if we put the older Flint head onto this figure. And I don't think the flesh color matches up exactly. I think that Tiger Force Flint is just slightly more pale. But we're going to see what it looks like anyway. So let me take the beret off of him, because we're going to have to take that off, and it'll make it easier for me to pop the head off. The head pops off rather easily, and hopefully the other one will pop on rather easily. So I can visibly tell, and I don't know if it's coming across on the camera, that that is not the same exact shade of Caucasian flesh that the Tiger Horse figure had. Like I said, the Tiger Horse figure is a little more pale and not quite as rosy as the version 1 classified Flint. But still, if you've got an extra Flint head and you don't want to have him with the Lone Ranger makeup, that's a good way to do that. And of course, we got to put the beret on him so we get the full effect, because he just don't look like Flint without the beret, does he? And there we go. If I can get it to focus. Focus! So I really want to get a good look at that flash in this video. Maybe I try to though. Yeah, that's about as good as it's gonna get. I'll try to get a good picture of it and put it on my community page later. But yeah, he's a good figure. But that face paint, I think, is just going to turn a lot of people off. I think a lot of people are going to leave him on the shelf because they don't like the face paint. But since I had an extra head, it's not a problem. And that's what they look like side by side, the two different versions of Flint. But, like, you know, quibbles about the face paint aside, like, for me, there was no way I wasn't going to buy this figure, because I like Flint an awful lot. I've been hoping they would do a Tiger Force Flint, because, you know, I'm a sucker for Tiger Force. Why didn't they put any camo paint on his forearms? Because if they're going to put it on his face, they might as well put it on his forearms, too. I mean, think about how they did Tunnel Rat. Oh, well. But yeah, so I did have that extra head, so I went ahead and swapped it out. And I think I'm going to keep him that way. I think he looks good like that. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this head unless I can find like a 1/12 scale white cowboy hat. And maybe then, maybe then. But he's still a pretty cool figure, I think. I think he would have been better if they had have just not fooled with the face paint. Or like I said, they probably should have just had an alternate head come with it to begin with. I probably would have rather had an alternate head than the Recondo rifle, even though I do think the Recondo rifle is really cool. But like I said, I kind of suspect these were ones that they probably produced at the same time that they were making Recondo's accessories, because they look like damn near identical to me. I can't tell. There's no discernible difference as far as I can tell between the actual Recondo rifle and the one that comes with Flint. They look like they were from the same production run. I'm pretty sure they were. So I don't know for certain, but that would be my guess. But man, like I said, to my naked eye, this is a very orangey shade of brown. But looking at it on the camera, it looks even more orange. So even that might not be everybody's cup of tea. So I would imagine, like, there are so many Dusties on my shelf at Target right now. So many Tiger Force Dusty figures, and if they wind up ordering Flint in the same quantity that Dusty's not really selling at, I can imagine this guy's probably not going to sell as well as Dusty. So he's probably going to wind up being a peg warmer. So if you're on the fence about picking this one up, my recommendation would be to wait, because he's probably going to go on clearance, and then pick one up at clearance price. I think I will put the just for the sake of accuracy for the video, I'm going to put the Tiger Force head back on him. But make no mistake, once this video is over, that the regular Flint head is going to go back on him permanently. But yeah. So if you're on the fence about this guy, yeah, I would definitely recommend wait until he's on clearance, because he's probably going to go on clearance. I would imagine you can probably pick this guy up for $14 at some point in the future, and that'll be a good price for him. Like I kind of figure, if you're on the fence about this guy, if you're thinking about getting him at all, you won't regret getting him if you pick him up for $14. Now, if you're like me and you happen to have an extra Flint head, and if like me, you just really dig on the whole Tiger Force subset and you're a sucker for it, and you've got to have all the Tiger Force figures, obviously you're going to have Flint. So if you don't have an extra head, you're just going to have to put up with him looking like a raccoon. That's just how that's going to be. But hopefully you have an extra head like I do. So it might be worth picking up at full price if you fit that very specific demographic of, you like Flint and you like Tiger Force and you really want a Tiger Force Flint figure, and you just happen to have an extra Flint head, so you can swap it out. So that is my take. Oh, wow, this has been a long episode for a simple repaint. Over a half an hour already. So I think it's time to call it a night on that one. Thanks for watching it with me. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like and subscribe, and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. And let me know what you think about Tiger Force Flint, and if you think it's a figure worth adding to your collection, whether you do or don't. I'm interested in hearing other people's opinion on this figure. We will talk to you next time. Bye.